Consider this: one man, over 30 confirmed victims, and a reign of terror spanning 2 decades. This is the chilling legacy of America's notorious serial killer, John Doe, a name that, for many, evokes a palpable sense of dread and revulsion. His grisly record stands testament to a life steeped in malevolence and violence. For 20 long, harrowing years, John Doe held a nation in the grip of fear. His crimes were not merely acts of murder, they were meticulously orchestrated acts of terror. His victims, chosen seemingly at random, were united only by the horrific end they met. Throughout his period of active crime, the media dubbed him the Night Stalker, a moniker that conveyed the terror he instilled, the fear that gripped households as darkness fell. John Doe, or as the world knew him, the Night Stalker, was more than a mere man. He was a specter of death, looming in the dark corners of America's streets. Every monster has a beginning, and for John Doe, it was an ordinary childhood in an ordinary town. Born to a family of modest means, Doe's early years were unremarkable, filled with the same ups and downs that color most childhoods. His parents, hardworking and dedicated, were unaware of the malevolent seeds sprouting within their son. The first hints of Doe's deviant behavior emerged subtly: a fascination with the macabre, an unusual delight in the suffering of small creatures. These were the early signs, often dismissed as childish curiosity. Adolescence brought with it a sharpening of these tendencies, a honing of Doe's darker instincts. Incidents of petty theft, vandalism, and unprovoked violence began to punctuate his teenage years, hinting at the monstrous path he was destined to tread. From this ordinary beginning, no one could have predicted the darkness that would soon unfold. As John Doe stepped into adulthood, a sinister transformation began. A once seemingly ordinary young man, Doe's life took a dark turn, one that would etch his name into the annals of crime history. His first known crime, a seemingly petty burglary, was the inauguration of a macabre symphony of terror. But don't be fooled, this was no ordinary act of theft. It was a meticulously executed operation, a chilling testament to the cold, calculated mind behind it. But as is often the case in such twisted tales, this was merely the beginning. Doe's offenses escalated rapidly in both frequency and severity. Petty theft soon gave way to more violent crimes: assaults, kidnappings, and eventually, the unthinkable: murder. But Doe was not just a killer, he was a predator, a master of disguise, a phantom in the night. His methods were chillingly meticulous, and his ability to blend into the shadows was uncanny. He was always one step ahead, always in the shadows, always watching. And yet, in spite of the growing body count, Doe managed to evade the authorities for years. His crimes were so carefully orchestrated, so flawlessly executed, that he left almost no trace. And so, as the years rolled on, Doe's reign of terror continued unabated, his name whispered in hushed tones as the embodiment of the boogeyman. The Night Stalker, as he came to be known, had become a specter that haunted the city, a chilling reminder of the evil that lurks in the hearts of men. With each new crime, the city's fear grew, as did its desperation to bring this phantom to justice. But capturing a ghost is no easy task. And as the authorities grappled with the elusive nature of their adversary, the Night Stalker continued his dark descent, leaving a trail of blood and terror in his wake. With each passing year, the Night Stalker's reign of terror only grew, as did the desperation to bring him to justice. In the end, even the most elusive shadows get caught in the light. The nightmare known as John Doe was finally cornered. The key that unlocked the mystery was a single strand of hair, a tiny piece of evidence that proved to be his downfall. The forensic team worked tirelessly, their dedication finally paying off. When the news of Doe's capture hit the public, a wave of relief washed over the nation, but it was not without a tinge of horror at the atrocities he had committed. The trial was a spectacle, a media frenzy, each revelation more shocking than the last, painting a vivid picture of a man who was a monster. The jury's verdict was unanimous: guilty. The judge's gavel echoed through the courtroom, marking the end of Doe's reign of terror. The capture of John Doe closed a dark chapter in America's history, but the echo of his crimes still lingers, a chilling reminder of the monsters that can hide in plain sight.